One of the stops on this New England cruise was Boston. So while I was in port, I decided to go to Smoke Shop Barbecue. This restaurant was on the best of Boston list for a few years running from 2017, and I had to try it out for myself. I also went to the Boston Tea Party Museum, and I loved that museum as well. So if you have a chance, you should go check that out as well. Now, what did I have on the menu? You know that when I rate restaurants, I rate a restaurant in terms of 1 to 5. And so I decided to start out with an appetizer. The appetizer was the Smoke Shop's famous wings. It was 6 wings, smoked wings tossed with agave and pit spices. The price was about $12, and it was delicious. I love the flavor of the wings. The wings had flavor throughout. So sometimes when you have wings, they only taste the flavor on the wings, but when you bite into the wings, you realize that there's not much flavor within the wings. So the wings had flavor throughout. So I love the wings. It didn't really need a dipping sauce to me, and I didn't ask for a dipping sauce. So I rated the wings 5 out of 5. So now when it came to the main course, I love baby back ribs. If I go to a barbecue restaurant and they have baby back ribs, I would prefer that. I do not like St. Louis style ribs. Some people prefer that over baby backs, but I just love baby back ribs. And so they only have it on the menu on Sundays and Mondays. I happened to be there on a Monday, so I took full advantage of having that on the menu. So I tried the baby back ribs. They only do a full rack. So I had to have the full rack because they don't do a half rack when they have this on the menu. And I decided also to have a few things as my sides. I had the baked beans. I had the macaroni and cheese, which had pimento cheese in it. I also had the cornbread, sweet potato mash, and it came with 2 slices of watermelon. So the ribs itself were $36. Maybe a little pricey, but I think for a full rack of ribs, I think $36 may be reasonable. Put in the comments what you think about that. So first, let's deal with the ribs. Now, the ribs on the ends were a little bit charred and was a little bit dry at the ends. But as you went into the rib itself, it was fall off the bone. It was delicious. I had it without sauce, and I had it with one of their sweet sauces, barbecue sauces, and it was delicious because of the fact that at the ends it was a little bit dry. So I had to give it a 4 out of 5. But it was a delicious set of ribs. I can see why they are the best of Boston several years running. So for the sides, I have the cornbread. The cornbread I thought was delicious. At first I thought I was worried that it may have been a little bit dry based upon when I put my fork through it, but when I tasted it, I could taste that it was moist, it was flavorful, it wasn't too sweet, it wasn't undersweet as well. And so I love the cornbread. Because it could have been a little bit more moist, I gave it a 4 out of 5. When it came to the pit beans had pieces of brisket in it. It says slow smoked beans with pieces of brisket. I didn't really taste a lot of pieces of brisket in it, but it was delicious beans. Could it have been bumped up maybe with a little bit of heat or something of that nature because of the fact that it wasn't like big pieces of brisket? I couldn't give it the top mark. For that reason, I had to give it a 4 out of 5. Then I also have the sweet potato mash. The sweet potato mash, I just want to try it. It was okay. I'm not used to having sweet potato mash, and so therefore I think I would prefer probably maybe mashed potatoes, but I want to try it for itself. So for that reason, maybe you would love it when you go there, but I would have to give it a 3 out of 5. Then the pimento mac and cheese. This thing was delicious. I'm kind of like a mac and cheese connoisseur, so the fact that It was on the menu. Sometimes I don't like to try people's mac and cheese because I don't want to be disappointed. But this did not disappoint. It was flavorful. It was creamy. It was just so delicious. And so, therefore, because of that, I had to give it a 5 out of 5. It was so delicious. If you go to this restaurant, make sure that one of your sides is the pimento mac and cheese. So beyond the food, the service was great. I loved my waiter. I went during the afternoon. It was a lot of people in there, so it was great. I love to go to a restaurant when there's not a lot of people in there, so I didn't have to wait long to be seated. And also the ambiance, it was reminiscent of a place that you would go for barbecue. You know, it was like dark wood. It's reminiscent of one of those places or another barbecue restaurant that you would go to in terms of the ambiance, in terms of the decor, benches, seats, all wood, more or less brown in color. So I love the restaurant. I think it's a place that you should really consider going. I am so glad that I did go. Can you do me a favor, family? Can you like, comment, subscribe? Click on the notification bell to be informed of future posts. And until next time, happy travels.